What do you want to see out of Drake Maye? How much of Drake Maye do you want to see tonight, Barth?
I think ideally quarter plus. So figure Jacoby Brissett, I don't think gets more than 2 or 3 series.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 if it's there's a short one. So that puts Drake Maye in late in the first, probably first drive of the second quarter. I think whole second quarter, he's got to play. Like, you got to get him the reps. And some of this goes to what Phil said. There's real value in this game as a teaching moment. Allowing Drake Maye to play second quarter, right? See the defense, go into halftime, meet with the coaches, go over the adjustments, come back out, start of the second half, and execute those adjustments. That's a good rehearsal. But like Phil said, if you can't protect him, if he's getting killed out there, you can't leave him out there. Because the worst thing that could happen is he gets hurt seriously and loses legitimate development time, right? Yeah. So ideally and he doesn't have to play the whole third quarter. You give him 1 or 2 series in the third quarter to see how he does handling those adjustments, and that's that. I don't think he needs to play the whole second and third quarters, but ideally you see him make the turn after halftime. If he does that, I think they got him a good amount of run.
What are your expectations for Drake Maye? What should we expect for people that haven't gone down to training camp for Drake Maye?
It's so tough because we don't know what the line will be. Yeah. I think if he gets protection, if he has time to throw, I think he'll impress some people. He was really comfortable in that practice on Tuesday, and he was able to throw the ball around. I thought he was making good reads. I thought the ball was coming out on time, all of that. When he has struggled with pressure, he's kind of held onto the ball, and it's because I think the big adjustment for him right now, even when he's had time, is everything's happening faster than it did for him in college, and the read and react speed needs to improve. And with pressure, sometimes guys get the ball out quicker. He'll actually try to extend it and like move out of the pocket, and then it turns into a half-field read and things like that. So he might look a little flustered, but I think if he's given a chance to settle in, you'll see him start to really spread the ball around.
Do you think there's an opportunity here for Drake Maye? Like, we've been down at camp, and Bertrand's been certainly frustrated over the last few days, saying, you know what, Drake Maye's not getting any run here with the ones. I'd like to see them kind of incorporate him a little bit more into that. If he goes out there and lights it up today, do you think that provides him an opportunity moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's what this game's all about. It's about proving he gets more reps with the ones and earning more reps with the ones, because they're not going to put him out there if he's not ready for it. But if he goes out there in live action against another defense and starts making plays, then it becomes, all right, well, let's take the next step. Let's see what he can do. We give him a little more. You get into that joint practice, maybe he performs well in the joint practice, another game, and then that's how the conversation starts of, all right, when are we going to start this kid in a regular season game? So that really kicks off tonight, because I think with the good performance, it puts a lot of this is dictated by the locker room. The guys in that room want to play with the guy that's going to give them the best chance to win. And Jacoby's done a great job of establishing himself as that guy.
Yeah.
But if Drake Maye starts to show something, it puts pressure on the coaching staff of, we got to see what we have here, because players are going to, I want to play with that guy. Look at what he's doing. That kind of starts to build that momentum. But the only way Drake Maye can do that is to prove himself tonight.
Well, if that's the case, by the way, I do hope that he gets an opportunity here to play behind a legitimate offensive line. Yeah. They're not putting him out there with the twos where he doesn't have necessarily the opportunity to go out there and make some plays because he's going to get killed.
Yeah, that's my concern. That's my concern tonight. I'm not concerned about Maye. I think he'll figure it out. But the offensive line in front of Maye has been pretty atrocious, especially when Leverett was forced to go to the top unit at center when Andrews was out the couple days for his son. And you had Antonio Mafi snapping the football all over the place. I mean, just try to get it in the same zip code as Drake Maye would be a good thing. So I am concerned about the offensive line, and I wonder, does that impact Mayo's plan? If you have Maye out there, he needs reps. I think all of us agree that he needs those reps. But if the offensive line is bad in front of him like they've been during camp for the most part, do you think about pulling him and saying, man, we can't have him out there. Maybe we give him a shot with the top O-line in preseason game number 2. Does that change the math at all? If I'm watching him running around like a chicken with his head cut off, I don't know how much improvement he's going to be able to show during this game tonight. It's going to look a lot like practices have looked like, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd hope they'd be aware enough to pull him, and then it becomes, sorting through, all right, what did he do wrong? What did the offensive line do wrong? And this is also the first time, training camp, it's all got calls. You see a play, and and you give your take on it, and at least this is the media trying to relay it. Obviously, the coaches have film, but we're going to have a chance tonight because it's recorded and there's film and there's all 22 to go through and kind of get a better understanding of what's going wrong with this offensive line and how much, if at all, Drake Maye is involved.
617-779-0985. Let's get to some of your calls. Mark is in Connecticut. Mark.
Hey, Alex, I know you and Evan were talking about it yesterday. I know you guys are talking about Brandon Ayuk, but, I mean, the more important thing is the left tackle position. I'm really interested to see what happens with this left tackle position because we really haven't addressed it at all in the draft or in free agency or anything, and I'm just really nervous to see what happens on that left side. I think the right side should be okay, but left side is definitely a problem.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know that it's going to get addressed in a permanent way this year. We've seen Vidarian Lowe get most of the reps. He's been, last year, I know people remember him just turnstile last year.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year when they tried to play him, they played him at right, and it was brutal. And then he didn't play for a few weeks. He came back at left. He was better. It wasn't great. It wasn't starting caliber, but take that for whatever that's worth if you want something to kind of be able to look forward to. But it's been Vidarian Lowe, Caden Wallace, the rookie. They said they were going to try to develop him as a left tackle. That's a tough adjustment going from right to left. We'll see if he can get there. I think he's probably a right tackle in the NFL ultimately. Maybe he gives you something this year, but in terms of finding a future, I don't think the future franchise left tackle is currently on the roster. Honestly, if even if Wallace shows flashes, I've been asked this, if Caden Wallace looks decent at left tackle, does it change the math on it? Well, they don't have a right tackle either. Chuks Okorafor is on a 1-year deal. So if Wallace looks decent, I would say, great. Let's move him to his natural position at right tackle where he'll be better and then go get a real franchise left tackle. So I still think, and that's not happening through trade. It's not happening through free agency. There's a shortage of tackles in the league. That's going to have to come through the draft. Will Campbell, LSU, Kelvin Banks from Texas. Those are the names to know. You're not going to see that fully sorted out, I think, until next year.
Have you been surprised, by the way, that Michael Wenu's hasn't been at right tackle after getting the contract that he got and that they've stuck him at right guard and it feels like that's pretty much where he's going to be?
Not really, just because and it's a new coaching staff, I guess, but they've always viewed him as a guard. And they would only move him to tackle. Remember last year it was weeks and weeks and weeks of, why won't he play tackle? It's a better group with tackle. When they finally did it, it was, but they were so hesitant to do it. I just think they view him as a guard. I know they signed him as a tackle, but people will say, well, you paid him all this tackle money. How can you pay him at guard? He's not even the highest paid guard in football if he's playing guard. I mean, he's second, but he's the, I think, 4th or 5th highest paid tackle and 2nd highest paid guard. So ranking-wise, in terms of the money, it's somewhat comparable. And the reality is, if the line's best with him at guard, he needs to be at guard. That may be the case right now because their guard depth isn't great. When Cole Strange comes back, we can have a full conversation about this way down the road. If their tackle play really struggles when Cole Strange comes back, maybe that becomes another conversation. But I think they feel like their best fives with him at guard. Where I'm surprised is I would have given it a little longer look with him at tackle, but maybe they saw all they need to see.
The one thing I'll say about the offensive line is you need one tackle to work. That's how I'm looking at it for this year. If you've got 4 or 5 guys, right? You got Vidarian Lowe, you've got Caden Wallace, you've got Chuks Okorafor, you've got Calvin Anderson. One of those guys has to give you okay play. Because to me, and I don't know if Alex disagrees with this, I don't think he will, the interior of the offensive line has looked really good. Sidney So looks like he's taken a step. He missed 11 on 11s the other day. Hopefully he's healthy. But So has been the second best offensive lineman at camp. Owenu has been a freaking monster. He has been dominant. And then you've got David Andrews. So as far as the top offensive line, your interior offensive line is fine. All you need is one of those 4 or 5 tackles to play well because you can help the 5th guy. You can survive in the NFL with 4 out of 5 linemen playing at least good. So that's what I'm focused on. Can one of these 4 or 5 guys actually show that they're worth something? If they do, I think they can cobble it together this year and be better than they were a year ago for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's just so hard when that one guy's your left tackle. I'm with you on the general theory of you can have one weak link and make up for it. But left tackle, to me, is I put a little caveat on that and say, but it better not be the left tackle.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.